are here, ladies and gentlemen, the start of the regular season, and yesterday we talked about the hype index chart and how that formula is created and what goes into that, and we talk about the guys at the top. They're also the most liquid, and when we talk about liquidity, it really just means how often are people searching for these players' cards. In order to sell cards, you want that card to be liquid, you want that player first and foremost to be liquid, and so today we're going to dive into, are there any buying opportunities from the hype index chart of the guys who are most hyped? Because essentially, you could look at who's the most hyped, but also has the cheapest rookie card among that top 10, 15, 20 players. And if you find that guy, then you could buy in, also understanding that their card's also very liquid. So let's see if there's any opportunities there. I'm going to share with you guys my 5 favorite opportunities. So let's dig in. Alright, so we're going to start this episode off by talking about wide receivers because they're arguably the position that is the most volatile. These guys can literally come out of nowhere and make these big splash plays, these big splash performances, and therefore their rookie card values go up. There's a lot of volatility in their prices, and they're the ideal candidate to buy and flip on a week-to-week basis. The bright blue bar here right next to the player's name is the team score. The orange bar is the age score. The little gray bar is the Hall of Fame marker score. So you can see Jarvis Landry, Randall Cobb are popping up on the Hall of Fame marker score. And then the gold bar is their expected fantasy output this weekend, which as we know is derived from on-field production. So my goal is to really go down this list, and I like to start at the top and look at the most hyped guy. We talked about how that is Jamar Chase. But right here you can see that I think the top guy that's really popping out, and you're like, holy cow, look at Jalen Tolbert there as the number 3rd most hyped wide receiver this week. Is he the most hyped? I would say no, but that's when I start to look at why is he popping up here as on the number 3 on my chart. It's because of the team he's on in the Dallas Cowboys. They have arguably the largest fan base in the NFL. And then this orange bar is his age. He's a rookie. He's a 2022 rookie that they drafted on day 2 of the NFL draft, 3rd round. And he's expected to be the Dallas Cowboys' number 2 wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb until Michael Gallup gets back on the field. And by that point, who knows what's going to happen, how quickly he can get back on the field, as he did tear his ACL late in the season. And they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. So Jalen Tolbert is my number 1 wide receiver buy of the week because he became the 3rd player from the University of South Alabama to get drafted to the NFL when the Cowboys selected the receiver in the 3rd round of this year's draft. He was a former 2-star recruit, but he compiled an exceptional production profile, finishing in the 96th percentile for both dominator rating and target share in college. Jalen Tolbert hung his hat on being a deep threat, using his speed to get behind secondaries and averaging 16.1 yards per reception. It's worth noting that he came from a very small school, so this is a little bit less impressive. His dominance in his junior and senior seasons deserved to be noted. This is why Dallas had no issue selecting Tolbert with the day 2 draft capital, a huge stamp of approval from the league. You also have to take into consideration there's a lot of targets vacated on this offense from Amari Cooper and the loss of Cedric Wilson. And so you can see currently his legacy Silver Prism Auto is going for anywhere between $15 and $20. Even his Luminance with the year 1 gold logo and the on-card autograph for $31. How does that rack up against the other guys in the draft class? So the guys we're going to compare him to are the guys behind him on the hype index. So when we look at this, I've got George Pickens, Christian Watson, Sky Moore, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson. Of course, these rankings could be wrong. They are going to change wildly after week 1. That's why you guys want to make sure that you're subscribed, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss out on a single step of the football card quest. So the next step in my process to confirm that his rookie autograph cards are undervalued is to take one that is extremely liquid. I see a ton of sold transactions on, and that's the Legacy Silver Auto. And right now, like I said, we can find that about $15, $20 for Jalen Tolbert. George Pickens doesn't even have one. He does have a few. They're very rare. They're serial numbered out of 25 or 50, and those are going for several $100s. The Silver Prism ones are $110, $120 in redemption format. That's a 4 to 6 month turnaround time getting that card back. Those are still selling for 110, 120 on George Pickens. That's Pittsburgh Steelers fan base and what he did in the preseason. Plus, that second round draft capital is definitely going a long ways for him. But let's look at Christian Watson. Green Bay Packers didn't stand out in preseason, though, like Romeo Doubs did because he battled an injury. He's going 55 to 60. Let's look at Sky Moore on the Kansas City Chiefs, 55 to 60. What about some other guys in the draft class, like Chris Olave on the New Orleans Saints? That's a $60 card. What about Danny Gray on the San Francisco 49ers? Now, Danny Gray is a late round guy. He is another sleeper that may not do anything week 1. He may not do anything in weeks 2, 3, 4, or 5, but eventually at one game this season, like he did in the preseason, he's going to have an 80-yard touchdown pass somewhere in there. There's going to be that spike game for him, and his cards will go up as a result because San Francisco has a massive market. They also have an incredible roster, and they could have a very good record by the end of the season with a guaranteed playoff appearance. Danny Gray is another favorite target of mine, but the focus on Jalen Tolbert, you can see here, he's being compared to an equivalent of a 6th, 7th round guy. Look at Jahan Dotson on the Commanders, who I think is also an interesting prospect because he was so good at Penn State, but he was a late declare. Like, he stayed at college for the extra year, and he's next to Terry McLaurin, and it's just the whole Commanders brand is down right now, but that card's still $30 to $35. He should be on the field a lot. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep digging deeper. Let's look at the Romeo Doubs now. That is way down from where it was at earlier in the preseason. That was a $60, $75 card. Now that's back down to earth. $30 as the season kicks underway. We'll see who Rodgers gravitates to. Is it Christian Watson, Alan Lazard? Is it Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, or Romeo Doubs, or Aaron Jones? Is it just going to be Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon? We're going to find out after this week. They have a shootout matchup against the Vikings. Romeo Doubs still $30. You look at Drake London. He was the first wide receiver taken, but he's on the Atlanta Falcons. Also a little banged up through preseason. Now heading to the regular season. Definitely looks like Kyle Pitts is still going to be the target leader there. But Drake London is so good. He's got a lot of that Mike Evans type of profile in him. He's a $50. This card is selling for him for $50 right now. And then last but not least, the other first-round phenom from Arkansas, ultra dominant in college, Treylon Burks. That's, again, a $50 card, and he's still marked as the wide receiver number 4 on his depth chart in Tennessee. Jalen Tolbert's got the highest expected performance rating here in Week 1 in a primetime scenario on Sunday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when everybody's going to be watching. And as a rookie on the biggest market in the NFL, this tells me I absolutely want to buy right now to get this exposure to him and look to flip it next week. If I buy the card now, look at this college ticket. Look at this college ticket auto right here. And you'll see I've got some cards coming in the mail. This may or may not be mine to show you guys that I do eat at my own restaurant. I absolutely do eat at my own restaurant. And of course, if you're a part of the patreon.com/footballcards Discord server, you'll know, you may have remembered me talking about Jalen Tolbert earlier this summer. So I have some other cards that I've showed you guys in mail days, talked about them on other channels. All right, so as I'm going down the hype index, the next guy that jumps off at me as a buy low candidate is T. Higgins. Last season, T. Higgins played 18 games, including the playoffs, catching 92 of 140 targets for a robust 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns, including 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Of course, Jamar Chase led the way in PPR, putting up 18 fantasy points per game as wide receiver 5, but Higgins wasn't too far behind. He put up 15.7 wide receiver 13 and managed to actually outscore Jamar Chase in terms of expected fantasy points. There is little doubt that Higgins is already one of the NFL's best wide receivers. Higgins has already demonstrated the ability to play at an objectively elite level and just turned 23 years old last January. So you're probably wondering, where does he stack up against the other elite wide receivers and elite number 2 wide receivers, i.e. Gabriel Davis, playing tonight against the Rams with Stephon Diggs as the number 1 there? Well, his rookie ticket auto is currently, like for like, going for about $20 more on average than T. Higgins. T. Higgins put up almost 3 times as many receiving yards as Gabriel Davis did last year. That's a big leap for Gabriel Davis in his 3rd year for him to get up to the current prices that I think he's kind of getting up to for some of his cards. Now we look at the elite of the elite, and Justin Jefferson's rookie ticket autos are getting very hard to touch. In fact, it was very hard to find a recent one on a base rookie ticket auto. There are some very rare ones selling for a lot of money, but you look at the last base, and this is base optic, but base rookie ticket auto sale is almost $300. The CD Lamb, a little bit more recent, his card cards are also getting hard to find. We found out recently, shout out to my guy David Hunter, that the rookie ticket autos are a short print insert from Contenders, and the print run is approximately 150 on these cards. And the helmet variation with a little helmet on the rookie ticket auto, that's approximately 100 to 50 copies or less. So understand that when you look at these rookie ticket autos. That's why I tell you guys I love them so much, because you can sometimes buy into them low. Like I think $50 on T. Higgins is a fantastic deal. Makes him one of my second most favorite buy low targets heading into this week. Now, much like a receiver, the tight ends have some volatility in them too, and there is a rookie tight end that's popping up pretty high here on my chart, and that's Daniel Bellinger on the New York Giants, and he should get quite a bit of opportunity this weekend at Tennessee. And because he's a rookie and the Giants have such a massive market size for their team, they have a new head coach, they could come out blazing. What if they beat Tennessee in this game, or they look good? Daniel Bellinger gets a lot of targets en route to maybe a couple scores, and I think Daniel Bellinger makes for a very interesting prospect to invest in right now. He's got a pretty impressive prospect profile. I mean, runs a 4.6 at 6'5", 250 pounds. That puts him in pretty elite status across the board as a tight end. Very young, only 22 years old, with a 4th round draft capital out of San Diego State. And shucks, this is the challenge. There are no cards available for this cat. You're getting to see this unfold live here. And I'm going to keep it in the edit of this video. This is part of the challenge that Panini has presented us with. They're not reacting quick enough, and they're not putting 4th round draft capital guys into sets. What's the deal here? The only thing available for Daniel Bellinger on eBay is a signed autograph from San Diego State. I mean, he was drafted in the 4th round. It wasn't like he was Mr. Irrelevant, 6th, 7th round, last round guy. I mean, there's literally no Daniel Bellinger stuff. So keep your eye on Daniel Bellinger cards as they come out in the coming months. If I had to pick one other tight end, it would be Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles. With how good that offensive line is, the matchup they have this weekend against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions' biggest weakness on their defense is their linebackers. They're graded terribly. And ever since the Eagles dealt Zach Ertz to Arizona, Goddard's usage changed dramatically. You saw a spike in pass routes, targets, and targets per route. He's become one of the favorite targets of Jalen Hurts in that offense, and his potential could be astronomically higher this season. So if we look at the sold items for Dallas Goedert, I am actually pivoting away from the Prism in this year unless it's non-autographed and it has that rookie card logo. I've definitely seen that detract from the value of some of these cards. If it doesn't have that rookie card shield, that is important to me. I think that should be important to you as well for liquidity. My favorite card from 2018 to invest in is actually this optic right here. I love these optics with the rated rookie logo, chrome finish, on-card autograph. You can find these serial numbered. Even a $20 bronze auto has a very nice sweet spot, because we know it's about 150 or fewer copies. Plus, look, here's an optic holo. Bad pictures, probably a scan. You can make this look a lot better. Numbered out of 125, on-card autograph. This card is undervalued compared to other receiving profiles in 2018. All right, I hope you're hanging in there, because it's time to dive into the running back hype index chart. Stay tuned though for the quarterback buy low of the week. So I'm actually looking to sell Najee Harris heading into this week, just based on the difficulty of the Steelers schedule, thinking I can buy back into him lower down the season. Jonathan Taylor may present some small value, but his rookie ticket auto values are getting close to that of CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, so it makes it very difficult for me to buy into him there. Elijah Mitchell, now let's look at where his values are. Elijah Mitchell and Javonte Williams. Derrick Henry, we know, is very high based on being the king and having those multiple 2,000 plus rush yard seasons, and now he's over that age apex. He's over the 1,500 carry apex, and so it's hard for me to buy in there. Alvin Kamara could be suspended at any point down the stretch this season. Otherwise, I would think that he makes a great investment on the Saints. Austin Eckler, with so few rookie cards, is nice. I love the team scenario. How many touchdowns he put up last year, led the league in touchdowns at 20, and so absolutely love his underdog story and only having about 25 different rookie cards. But let's look at Elijah Mitchell, Javonte Williams. All right, guys, so here's a prime example. You can see definitely some hype and some elevated prices for Javonte Williams on the left. A black prism silver autograph for 60, the select napkin patch out of 75 for 87. If we look at some rookie ticket autos here for Javonte, and we know how good he was in the open field, breaking tackles. He's a bruiser. He's got soft hands, receiving profile. He could get a a lot of opportunities in the red zone this year for the Broncos. If Melvin Gordon were to miss any time as an aging older running back, then surely Javonte Williams would just absolutely smash. But that's the kind of the one thing holding them back. Plus, there's still ambiguity and question marks if Russell Wilson can really take the Broncos to the next step. And I think the answer is clearly yes. They play Monday Night Football against the Seahawks in a primetime game. You'll love that. But look at the values of Elijah Mitchell here on the right, and he finished number 8 amongst running backs last year with 963 rushing yards, and we know that he fits into that Kyle Shanahan zone scheme, wide gap run system perfectly with the speed that he's got. Yeah, he got banged up a little bit. If this guy stays healthy, he's going to put up incredible rushing numbers in that San Francisco offense. And right now, his cards are incredibly cheap based on the scarcity that I'm seeing here. Some of these sold transactions, like just incredibly cheap. Optic Hollow on-card autograph for $50. That is insane, especially with that market size of San Fran. This guy has got a lot of room for growth, making him my favorite buy low running back of the week, going up against the Bears in Chicago. A lot of people watching this game, a lot of potential for Elijah Mitchell to at least put up, based on opportunity alone, 100 yards and a few touchdowns. All right, my last one is looking at the quarterback hype index chart. And if you're not going Russell Wilson here, playing that revenge game Monday night against the Seahawks, and you're not going Baker Mayfield on Sunday playing the Cleveland Browns in another really juicy revenge game, which these guys are further down, I really like to look closer to the top here and talk about guys that are super liquid. There's been some hesitancy, some questions around Trey Lance the past week and a half ever since they signed Jimmy Garoppolo to that massive backup quarterback deal. Yet he's still, with his dual threat capability and going up against the Chicago Bears this weekend, locked and loaded as the starting QB1 there with tremendous upside as a second-year player, virtually a rookie based on his small sample size of what he's seen. He's got so much upward potential. And I'm not saying buy something ultra rare here, guys. I'm talking about buying Prism, Silvers, Optic Hollows, those kind of cards for $50, $60, $70. The way I know he's undervalued is because his current rookie card values, comparable scarcity, are lower than Trevor Lawrence. And this should not be, because the 49ers have a much better roster and outlook for the entire season. After week 1, maybe the Jags get past the Commanders, but after that, they've got a very tough schedule, and the 49ers just have one of the best rosters in the entire league and should be able to take that a lot further. I'm looking at a potential 2-0 Trey Lance here. After beating the Bears week 1, the Seahawks, another easy matchup in week 2. The next difficult matchup for them is in week 3, but by that time, I'll have flipped my cards heading into week 3, looking at a 2-0 Trey Lance. On the other side, if the Jags do find a way to get past the Commanders, do you think they're going to get past the Colts, the Chargers, or the Eagles? No, I'm looking at a 1-3 at best Jaguars team right here. It's a super long shot. I cannot touch Trevor Lawrence cards right now, even with a 10-foot pole, but I am buying into Trey Lance because he is now considerably lower. This $70 transaction right here is the short print photo variation of Trey Lance's Silver Prism, $70. Optic Hollow for $45 compared to a Trevor Lawrence at what, $75, $70? That is a massive difference. I'm looking at a little bit of hesitancy and a little nervousness around Trey Lance, but it should not be there, guys. He is locked and loaded as their starter this week 1 with 2 smash-up games ahead of them for the next 2 weeks, which makes him my favorite quarterback buy of the week if you're not into Baker Mayfield or Russell Wilson. All right, guys, let us know in the comment section below which matchups are you looking forward to the most this weekend. That's all the time we have today. I appreciate you guys stopping by on the Football Card Quest today. I'll see you very soon. Peace. Live tomorrow morning, September 8th on the opening night. I'm not buying necessarily guys in the games tonight because I think it's going to be a very close game tonight, and the Rams could potentially upset the Bills. That is very interesting because a lot of people, according to Vegas, are putting their money on the Bills. And typically when that happens, if you go back through history, when that happens, when 80 to 90% of people put their money on one team, the other team tends to win. So, and the Rams are the reigning Super Bowl champs. So I don't think that everybody should just be automatically assuming that the Bills are going to smash them when, you know, a tweet just came out just seconds ago from Ian Rappaport saying that Matthew Stafford is 100% that he has finished a 6-month rehab process on his elbow and he is good to go. So, guys, people could be sleeping on these Rams a little bit tonight, and they could come out and, you know, put a hurting on the Bills. But I think ultimately it's going to be a very close game. We'll see how it starts out. It's exciting, though. One thing that I could tell you, I mean, above all else for certainty, is that it is exciting. I think you guys are excited, so let's dig in.